try to reasonable time limits on it, so it doesn't turn into a multi-day event. Well, for example, appreciate the enthusiasm. Pickleball crowd
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Michelle, could you call the roll, please?
Dennis.
Here.
Harold.
Here.
Hollenbaugh.
Here.
Odoricchio.
Here.
Phipps. Here. Robinette.
Here.
Rubando.
Here.
Okay. Our minutes from our meeting on March 22nd were distributed for your perusal. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Correspondence. Michelle, do we have correspondence?
Yes, we do. The clerk of council received correspondence from the Historical Preservation Commission recommending that the following two properties be listed on the local historic register. City Police Division Building located at 175 West Wooster Street and Needle Hall Building located in City Park. As required by the section 158.06 of the codified ordinances, City Council should now refer this request to the Planning Commission.
Do I have a motion to refer this to the Planning Commission?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any other correspondence?
No.
Okay. Brings us to lobby visitations. Do we have anyone signed up for lobby visitations?
We don't have anybody signed up.
Okay. All right. That brings us to the introduction of new legislation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette.
from the Finance Committee, I have an ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2020.
Okay. And from utilities, I have an ordinance authorizing utilities director to enter into a contract or contracts for repairs to a floculation tank and sedimentation basin at the water treatment plant. I have never in my life used the word floculation before.
I believe it's
You didn't get it right, man.
You still haven't.
Yeah.
All right? Enough said. It's not going to be a Wordle word anyway. Who cares? All right, let's see. I also have an ordinance authorizing utilities director to enter into a contract or contracts to complete odor control improvements at the Poe Mercer pump station. I have used those words before. Okay. All right, at this time, council would like to go into executive session to discuss an economic development matter. And unlike normal executive sessions, instead of making you all leave, we're going to leave instead. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Michelle, could you call the roll, please?
Harold.
Yes.
Hollenbaugh.
Yes.
Odoricchio.
Yes.
Phipps.
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes.
Rubando.
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Okay, so we will leave the room to go into executive session and we'll return shortly. Okay, we are no longer in executive session. We're going to have to back up a little bit first to lobby visitation or introduction read legislation because we have to introduce a piece of legislation.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps.
I have a ordinance from the Planning, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee, an ordinance transferring certain properties in Innovative Technology Park to Bowling Green Economic Development in lieu of dues to facilitate a development project and declaring an emergency.
Okay.
Sure.
And then I've also been informed by our clerk that there were people interested in lobby visitation that were unaware they needed to sign up for lobby visitation. So we will now return to lobby visitations. And we do not have a list, is that correct?
Yeah, just hear it now.
Well,
Do you want that?
let's see. Mary Volmer, you could please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
I'm Mary Vollmer, and my address is 18895 Roanoke Drive. And I work at a business. I'm employed by a business here in Bowling Green, Ohio. And probably I have a question about the American Rescue Plan Act. And I know council doesn't make the decision on this. You just have people gathering information from the survey. And it's probably more of a question for Mike Marsh, but I'm looking for answers. And there was a place on the survey where it mentioned under community development, there was business grants there. And what I want to know is what would be the limitations on these business grants, since it was on the survey. There are a number of small businesses in town. As you know, small business is very important to this town because it provides a lot of the jobs, a lot of the tax money for business, for the community to service the citizens. And some of these businesses were not able to get any grants that were provided during the time of the shutdowns because either they didn't have enough of a year to prove loss from the year before. Maybe they were started up just not even a year before the shutdowns, or in some cases, such as some of the businesses downtown where they had a drop in business and were only back up to normal business after the roads were reopened, after the downtown construction. So they could not show a loss either that would have made them eligible for the grants that were offered during the pandemic. So these businesses are kind of between a rock and a hard place. And I know a lot of the business owners. I've talked to a lot of them just because we rub shoulders. And I'm trying to find out what that business grant money might mean. If Mike Marsh or anybody would have any information for me. And also if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm just a volunteer here trying to help businesses. And if I could go to any community, any committee meetings and find out what could be done for these businesses with that money to help them, then I would love for the committees to reach out to me. I will leave. I have left my number here. And perhaps because I have had a lot of input talking to the business owners themselves and asking them the questions from the surveys, I've had a lot of suggestions that I'd like to offer to help whoever might want to know what this could be used for. So anybody have any answers to my question about what the limitations are on the business grants for the small businesses?
Is there anyone that could reach out at some point to Mary and let her explain to her what the parameters of that is?
Mhm.
Yes, I'm aware of that. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get a little more.
Well, it sounds like you
Information.
wanted information before that. meeting.
Yes, I do. And believe me, the business owners are really wanting to have input in that. The issue is they keep asking me, well, how do I let my, suggestions be known, because they're just working buco hours just to keep up and get their businesses back on track again. So a lot of them can't come to a lot of meetings. And if anybody has any suggestions how we could have that
Does
work, that
anyone
would be
have a
great.
suggestion as
Mr.
to how
Mr.
she could
President,
get
I have
more?
one comment. Mr. Marsh can jump in. But it's my understanding that if these type of small business grants jump up and make the cut, and we decide that that's something that we're gonna use ARPA funds, my understanding that we as a council can pretty much have the latitude to structure those in any way that we see fit.
Right. I think the question
So-
she has though is more like, how does she effectively advocate for that?
Yeah, well,
President?
that's part of it. Part of it too is like some of them have said, okay, I need to expand my business by maybe offering some kind of package things that I can mail out and stuff, but I need more refrigerators to do that. Some businesses just need, they can't even paint or do some maintenance they need to do because of the losses they've had through the 2 years of the shutdowns, things like that, where they really are needing a tremendous amount of help, but they don't know what it can be used for. But they would like to and definitely want to put the input for how that, what freedom do they have with whatever they could receive and be eligible to get. And they'd like that answer too. And I'd like more of how can I connect with everybody? I've been trying to on the phone. So
Mr. President, if I may speak and I addressed your issue, Mary, I appreciate you coming and advocating for small businesses. It's extremely important. And what I've been telling people who have come to me and asking about this process is, I think we would love to see people put together a pitch deck. And if you don't know what that is, if a company needs refrigerators, come to us and tell us why you need refrigerators and tell us how that can affect the people of Bowling Green, how it can positively affect our community, how it can affect individuals that may have been adversely affected by the pandemic. So in that case, I think we can all know how small businesses were adversely affected by the pandemic. But, we want to ensure for the entire community that the money's going to the right places and that these individuals have a plan for this money and it's going to impact the community in a positive way. So, I personally want to hear personal stories.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone else has
Yeah.
a different vision, but I mean, that's kind of what I've been telling individuals that we're looking for. And you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, to save the businesses is generally saving the community anyway. They all have different needs. And, they would each have to say that. But I would say, as the word rescue infers, it's for people who have really suffered losses. And we do want to keep our businesses, that's for sure. But each of them probably would tell you, a number of them might have the same thing. Each of them might give a little bit different, input on exactly what they need. But then there could be maybe some kind of way of pinpointing for each business.
Well, I would imagine that if this were something we pursued with the funds, it would be a pool of money and then there would be some sort of
Yes.
application process
Yes.
or something like that. So.
Yes, because those who still have loans outstanding that could not qualify for the grants, those businesses, they can't just get the 0% and see that what they had left was to get the money from the federal government that was offered, for pandemic relief. But those are daily compounding loans. And so it isn't helping the businesses, but they can't go get the 0% loans because they wouldn't qualify to pay off a loan unless that's allowed, but, in order to stay afloat. So that's another question. Can they, exchange these daily compounding loans for, those
are
businesses that are in
questions
that
I
category?
can't
Yeah,
possibly
that's why I'm
answer at this
asking.
time.
That's why I'm asking Mike Marsh too.
He can't answer them either.
Okay. So it's just something that we
I
have
mean,
to
the place
find
we're,
out.
the place we're at right now is, if there are a group of people that want to advocate for funds being used for that purpose, they should get together, have some coffee, organize, and prepare a presentation for the May 12th meeting.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate any other suggestions then. Thank you very much.
Thank
And,
you.
Thank you.
If anyone else has any other information they would like to reach out to Mary later, share.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Was there anyone else that wanted to speak at lobby visitation? All righty. In that case, I believe we have arrived at official reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Council. I have just one item this evening, and I'd like to ask Martha Wolke, our Community Development Administrator, to join me for a moment. Many of you are likely aware that April is Federal Fair Housing Month, and we have a proclamation from my office. And the reason I asked Martha to come up is Martha's office is responsible for administering our CDBG funds, which many of those funds, a good portion of those funds, are extended towards housing initiatives here in Bowling Green. Martha and her office are also involved in a good number of other housing related aspects in Bowling Green. Matt Snow, I think, does sometimes handle some complaints or some concerns that are forwarded to the office. So I just wanted to highlight the work that Martha and her group do. And highlight just a couple sections of the proclamation designating April as Fair Housing Month. What I think is most important that I want to say is the section that says, whereas the City of Bowling Green supports fair housing efforts to eliminate discrimination in housing by providing education to seekers of housing, rental property owners, managers, and others regarding state and federal housing laws, monitors local advertising for potential fair housing violations, and reports violations to fair housing acts to the Ohio Civil Rights Commission. This is work that Martha's office often does. And we want to acknowledge the city's endorsement and commitment to the policy of fair and equal access to housing, and further encourage the citizens of the municipality to acquaint themselves with their rights that are protected under the law and join in reaffirming a commitment to fair housing for all, regardless of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, familial status, or handicap disability. I'm going to give this to Martha. I think that gets displayed in your office area. Thank you for all of the work that you do. Thank you very much. That completes my report, subject to any questions that you may have.
Does anyone have any questions for the mayor this evening? Okay, thank you very much. Municipal Administrator, Ms. Tretter. Are there any questions for Ms. Tretter this evening? City Attorney, Mr. Marsh. Are there any questions for Mr. Marsh this evening? Okay. Public Services Director, Mr. Fawcett.
First thing is a reminder for the groundbreaking tomorrow at 2 p.m. right out here in the parking lot. The forecast looks good for right now, so fingers crossed it doesn't get too rainy. Previously, Greg had asked for a quick update on the vandalism in city parks, so I thought I'd give you all an update to give you a status of some of the projects that are going on there, as well as what we're seeing. So I asked our police division for a summary of the incidents that have occurred just over the last 3 months. And there have been 4 instances of vandalism going back to January, 1 in January, and then 3 here in the last few weeks. It's been primarily graffiti again, either on the stone shelter or on picnic benches. So we're still seeing a little bit of activity, primarily over the weekend. We had briefed you previously on some of the infrastructure projects that we were undertaking to help kind of mitigate the risk of that continuing to occur. And those are ongoing. Some cameras have been on order for a few months, but with the supply chain issues, that's a bit of a casualty of COVID. The timed locking mechanisms for the bathrooms over on The western side of the park have arrived. They arrived today. So we're trying to get on the installer's calendar to get those put in. With regards to the side use path and then the upgraded lighting and camera project, we have a meeting here coming up pretty soon to determine who's going to do the engineering portion of that project. So I hope to get that moving here in the not too distant future. So again, that paving will also include upgrading the street lights there, as well as installing some more security cameras in the park. So with that, I will entertain any questions you might still have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Fawcett this evening?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Public Infrastructure Director, Mr. O'Connell.
Just want to talk about flocculation for just a second.
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. So just to explain to you what the basic process is, at the water plant, it's very initial stages when we're treating water. We add a chemical that goes through rapid mix, then it coagulates the water. So all we're doing is we're adding a chemical to make the little pieces make larger pieces. And that's done in the flocculation tank, where we're mixing the water and the chemical together so that the particles start to stick together. They make bigger particles, and then they settle out by gravity in the sedimentation tank. And so this is all kind of one process at the very beginning of the conventional treatment plant. That's the very first thing that we do with the plant. And so it's an odd word, but it's just part of the, at least I left off the word coagulation. So
That word I know.
all right. But that's all I have. Is if you have any questions about that? or
Are
others?
there any questions for Mr. O'Connell? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to council committee reports. Do we have any council committee reports?
Mr. President, just
Mr. Robinette,
a reminder that the Finance and Ways and Means Committee will have a committee meeting at 6:15 PM on the 18th, just prior to our next council.
okay. Any other council committee reports? All right, I would just like to remind everyone that there will be a committee of the whole meeting at 6 PM here in council chambers on May 12th to hear public input on ARPA funds. Further information on the details of that meeting will be forthcoming in the next couple of days. Brings us to the reading of legislation.
Okay.
Michelle?
Legislation for first reading, Ordinance 8997, ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2022 and ending December 31, 2022.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette,
I move to suspend the rules and give ordinance 8997 its second and third readings.
Second.
okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Michelle?
Oh, let me get ready here. Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Oderiso,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
Okay, so the rules are suspended for ordinance 8997.
Mr. President?
Read it.
No.
Ordinance 8997, ordinance providing supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2022 and ending December 31, 2022.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette,
I move to adopt ordinance 8997.
Second.
it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? And we'll make a note that that was the second
Second and third. That was for
reading.
second and third
Okay.
reading.
All right, if you could call the roll, please.
Oderiso,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh.
Yes. All right, ordinance 8997 is adopted.
Ordinance 8998, ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to enter into a contract or contracts to complete the odor control improvements at the Poe Mercer Pump Station. Ordinance 8999, ordinance authorizing the Utilities Director to enter into a contract or contracts for repairs to the flocculation tank and sedimentation basin at the water treatment plant. Ordinance 9,000, ordinance transferring certain properties in Innovative Technology Park to Bowling Green Economic Development in lieu of dues to facilitate development project and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps.
I move to adopt the emergency clause for ordinance 9,000.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, Michelle?
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Odericio.
Yes.
Okay, so the emergency clause has been granted for ordinance 9000.
Ordinance 9,000 for second and third reading. Ordinance transferring.
Oh,
Mr.
wait.
President,
Sorry.
Sorry.
You're doing
that was
fine.
probably me. I move to suspend the rules and give ordinance 9,000 its second and third reading.
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded.
No, okay. Ordinance 9,000, ordinance transferring certain properties in Innovative Technology Park to Bowling Green Economic Development in lieu of dues to facilitate a development project and declaring an emergency
For second
for second and third reading.
Mr. President, do we need to take a voice vote on the motion to give it its second and third reading? A roll call?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
we made the motion and seconded, but didn't vote.
I know.
Okay.
Could you call the roll, please?
Robinette,
Yes.
Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps.
Yes.
All right, I'm a little confused, but that was to suspend the rules?
Yes.
To give it its second and third reading, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Just call the.
Okay. Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis.
Wait,
Yes.
wait,
No.
wait.
Oh, wait.
Wait,
Mr. President,
That was my
Yes.
fault.
okay.
I believe now we just need Michelle to give it its second and third reading
Correct.
again.
No, I'd read it
Yeah.
again. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ordinance 9,000 for second and third reading. Ordinance transferring certain properties in Innovative Technology Park to Bowling Green Economic Development in lieu of dues to facilitate a development project and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps,
I move to adopt ordinance 9000.
are you
Second.
sure?
Yes.
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay. Michelle?
Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette.
Yes.
All right. As far as I know, ordinance 9000 is adopted.
Ordinance 8995 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2022 and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 8996 for second reading. Ordinance authorizing the Public Services Director to submit an application to the Ohio Department of Transportation for the Catastrophic Snowfall Program for state fiscal years 2022 and 2023, and giving consent of the City of Bowling Green for ODOT to provide secondary snow and ice removal and to use snow and ice control material on roads within the jurisdiction in the event of 16 or more inches of snowfall within a 24-hour period. Legislation for third reading, resolution providing 3819, resolution providing revisions to the Parks and Recreation Department section of the Comprehensive Master Plan of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps?
I move to table resolution 3819 until May 2nd, the date of our public hearing on this resolution.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Michelle?
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rubando.
Yes.
Okay, so resolution 3891 is tabled to 5/2/22.
Resolution 3820, resolution approving revisions to the Economic Development section of the Comprehensive Master Plan of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps?
I move to table resolution 3820 until May 2nd, again, the date of our public hearing on that resolution.
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Michelle?
Harold?
Yes.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Okay, so resolution 3820 is tabled until 5/2/22.
Ordinance 8993 for third reading, ordinance amending and adopting section 33.03A of the codified ordinances of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio relating to pay for school police interns and civil infractions hearing officer.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette,
I move to adopt ordinance 8993.
Second.
properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, Michelle?
Allenbaugh,
Yes.
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 8993 is adopted.
Ordinance 8994 for third reading, ordinance accepting a deed from SP Wood Stream Drive, Bowling Green, Ohio LLC for right-of-way on East Wooster Street.
Mr. President,
Ms. Phipps?
I move to adopt ordinance 8994.
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, Michelle?
Odericio,
Yes.
Phipps,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Rubando,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Allenbaugh.
Yes, ordinance 8994 is adopted. Is there any other business to come before council this evening? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Still barely 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Very efficient.
I'm easily confused.
Yeah.
No, I
Can I borrow that?
messed something up in there too.